What a day, what a day. In the middle of nowhere, I found a little quiet spot because I really want to give this video justice.
I bought a tuk-tuk to travel from Argentina to Alaska, but unlike others overlanding the same route, I'll be in fact crossing the Darién Gap.
I got about 25 YouTube questions from you legends, and I might add a few frequently asked questions from Instagram. Wanted a nice spot where Paddy could be off leash and I could get the oil change done, as well as change out that little gold piece that I've just bought. I'm an idiot. I remember there was some part that I had to get for altitude. So we got it, we just ran inside. Got this little part, this little gold part. You can hear me breathing, huffing and puffing. The altitude, yeah, it's a serious thing. So that little gold screw, hopefully that fixes my problems and issues. It might be a bit more of a raw bit of content than the usual. Hopefully you guys enjoy. What a day, what a day. We've got a dusty tuk-tuk, which we do like because we're living it. This may be a little bit of a, like, you'll see how my tuk-tuk's kind of set up from this video, but I'm gonna do a gear review video completely. I didn't tell her to do that. Oh, I like the pause, cutie. I'm just gonna get everything out. That's what I'm kind of doing currently. And then I'm gonna clear the back seat so she could just lie down, leave the door open. And she's got plenty of water because I need to take care of her, right? We're on this adventure together, right? This is probably gonna be the roughest video you're gonna ever see if you know anything about mechanics, because I definitely don't. I learned a lot from that last video, you guys in the comments. That was incredible. We're probably gonna see a lot more comments from you guys just telling me what I've done wrong, what I could do better. So we're just currently still waiting for Tori to cool down before we get stuck into it. I'm also gonna try to do one of these videos every like 3 to 6 months, and I'm gonna do my best to get every question answered. Question 1 coming in from Instagram. That's the only one that we're gonna take from Instagram just because it's so frequently asked. But what are we doing about the Darién Gap? The Darién Gap is an uncrossable jungle that sits between Colombia and Panama, and only about 8 motor vehicles have ever crossed through it. So we're gonna try to be the 9th, first one on 3 wheels, first tuk-tuk ever. That's why I think it's such a hard situation to fathom, because of how insane it is. But we're essentially going to get through with about 10 to 12 locals. It'll cost about 10,000 US dollars, and we're going to try to do it in about 8 to 10 days. It'll probably be the hardest thing I've ever done to date, but that's essentially the plan. Sun safety, lads. For some reason, the jack's leaking hydraulic fluid. Getting right into it, the question is, does anything happen off camera, and what do you do to avoid it? When I'm traveling, I'm pretty much always alert and always taking the necessary precautions, especially depending on the areas and how many things I'm getting told by the locals in that area about how careful I need to be and what I need to look out for. Another solid question being, do I think I'm gonna travel with another person along the way? Friends and family definitely will join me along the way, but I think I'm just gonna try to keep this journey to Paddy and I, just because there's so much growth and a lot less stress when you don't have to worry or think about somebody else along coming with you for the travel. What am I doing, man? I'm even too distracted with answering the questions that I'm fully lifting the front up like I'm changing the front tire, but I need to do everything at the back. Now we're on the side, we should be. So the next question was, as someone struggling with learning Spanish, where and how do I learn best? I definitely have so many holes in my Spanish, but just from my commitment to just listening to Spanish music and like watching movies on Netflix and things, oh my goodness, look at what I'm doing. My biggest tip was to just not treat it like it's work or anything. Just do what you do and what you like to do, but do it all in Spanish. So, and that way when it's fun, you're more likely to keep it up. I'm 3 years in on this Spanish learning journey, and I'm far from perfect. I even went to the extent that when I moved out of home, I moved out into a house that was a Latino share house. Those Friday night Latino parties were absolutely insane. So there was that benefit. We don't really half-ass anything. We really take an idea and we kind of run with it, as you can kind of see. How's it going, Paddy? There we go, chucking that bad boy open. It is a dusty boy. Is it still hot? A little bit. It's a little hot still, but it is what it is. This is the first time I'm changing out this gold piece, so you guys are gonna learn with me. So yeah, 5 years total for this travel is what I'm telling my mum. But it is kind of crazy to say that out loud. So yeah, it could be 3 years, it could be 7 years. I'm just taking it as it comes. doing the adventure and journey for Patty and I, and we are in no rush because all we're doing is we're living and we're learning, and that's the most amazing thing. Sometimes I'll still walk out and I'm like, I see the tuk-tuk in the garage and I'm like, why do I own that thing? And I forget, like, Patty might jump into the bed and I'm like, and like I've got a dog as well. These are just things that I've just never fathomed before, and then they've just kind of happened in the life. We're loving it, aren't we, Patty? I'm just taking the last piece off. You guys just have to sit there for a sec. Anyway, we're taking the carburetor off. It's not connected to anything. Cool, this is it. All right, we got it off. The gold piece is sitting somewhere in there. The question was, have I ever not found a place to sleep? Up until now, I've always found somewhere to sleep. The worst case scenario is I can sleep in the back of the tuk-tuk if we parked it somewhere safe, where in like a gas station or something. But the good thing is, the later it gets, the darker it gets, obviously. And we have a couple of times had to just pull up into a side road, which leads to a dirt road, which leads to just a patch of nothing. We can't see them, they can't see us type thing. And I am in the mentality that everything's out to get us when I'm in those situations. Second part of the question is, how we do maintenance if in places without tuk-tuks. We're on the sticks, my friend. For now, while I'm in Bolivia, I do have access to the mechanics. It is good for me to learn and do stuff myself though, because the next 5 countries we're traveling all don't have tuk-tuks, so I'm gonna have to do everything myself. Next question is probably my favorite. Do I have an idea of if I'm gonna change out the engine on Tory? I question why I've even got the stock engine in the tuk-tuk on a daily basis almost. I call it an illegal gradient. It shouldn't exist where a tuk-tuk can't go up. I need to make sure I remember where everything goes on this thing because it's pretty intricate. Next question was about if we know where we're going in Brazil. I don't really know the geography of Brazil, and I know it is huge. I know it's such a big country. I can't wait to visit, and I can't wait to get amongst some Portuguese because I barely know any. I know that I can pretty much get around only on Espanol, on like Spanish. I've got it upside down. All right, here we go. There it is, there's the gold piece, and I'm so keen to get to Brazil, it's not even funny. So we've just changed out the gold part and trying to put it back together with the least amount of dust getting into this thing. Next question was, what's the worst night of sleep you've ever had? I think it wasn't as bad as it should have been. I should have been far more paranoid for where I was. It was my first night of tent sleeping in Latin America without Patty, and was eventually the reason why we got Patty, with in the morning me having that run-in with those 2 guys on the motorcycle. It was just an insane time, and I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I didn't realize the full kind of weight to my actions. I hadn't been in the country long enough to get enough warnings from the locals, especially in the area that I was. It wasn't very far out of the city, so that's where the danger section is, in like the little rings that sit outside of these cities. So yeah, I think I should have been more paranoid than I was. I was definitely paranoid because every motorbike that I heard go past on them, I was camping behind like some shrubs that sat next to this dirt road, and every motorbike and dirt bike that went across that road, I was just aware of. So since getting Patty, I'm just sleeping a heap better knowing that she's in the tuk-tuk, and I just keep all my valuables in there even with her, because I've seen the way that she has protected, and she does an amazing job. So how old am I? I'm 23. And how much I think it's gonna cost? Really got no clue. The US is such an open-ended reason to why that's such an unknown. I try to prop the GoPro in the corner of how we looking over here, right? Surely the tripod stays. Oh, look at that. What I was saying was, currently I'm living on $500 US a month. A bit less at times, especially when I go full wild camp. I was staying in the city, and now that we're out of the cities, I'm spending a lot less. So some parts of the travel, I'm going to be spending more. I'm just trying to get this air filter on. For now, I'm in the cheapest part of the world. With the Patreon, I'm seeing you guys regularly. Just check out this. The YouTube money that I'm earning right now, I'm grateful for you guys. Just the likes, shares, and comments on the YouTube videos, allowing me to just travel more financially free in the way that I'm just not so focused on the choices I need to be making purely for financial reasons. Allows my content to be as raw as possible as it is, allows me to upload when I'd like. Sorry, my brother, someone's coming. Relax. Legends, guys. Yeah, I got so focused in on the whole English, started speaking English to them, so I forget that we're in Bolivia sometimes, especially when I am feeling quite safe, which is really, really cool. That's just slid right in. That is perfect. I'm kind of a mechanic, you know. And job done. I'm going to say for 5 years, if I'm 3 years Latin America, spending like 500 US a month, that's like $6,000 a year. So for 3 years, 18,000. I think that might triple when I'm in the US and in Canada, in Alaska as well. I might spend 60,000 US dollars in the next 5 years. Look at Paddy staunching. Alrighty, the oil change. This is where it gets messy, ladies and gentlemen. I've had these things of oil in here for God knows how long. I had to even stop on the way here to just check that I had enough oil that I was bringing out with me, because I'd hate to get here, start setting up and realize I've just released all the oil out of my tuk-tuk and I haven't got the 2 liters that I need to fill it back up and get out of here. And I also just want to give a big shout out to Motorland, just because they've not only gifted me with this tuk-tuk and a bunch of mechanical help as well. All of the parts that you'll see and all of the things that I'm going to be replacing and the tools that I'm using are all being gifted by Motorland. So freaking legends, man. There it is. That is what we need. That's the new oil filter. So I got to do this every about 2,500 kilometers. Change this over to just keep it running nicely, and then I need to put 2 liters of oil in every time after obviously taking out the old oil. I need to put 1.6 liters in the top, and then at the back there's another spot that needs 400 mils. I don't have a measuring cup, I just realized, so we'll see how we go. This might be your first tuk-tuk part unboxing, but we got our little trusty knife. Open the sticky tape up like that, and then this is it. You tuk-tuk part unboxing, first ever on the channel. You lucky legends. So it's far from the most aesthetic looking vid, but it'll have to do. Oh man, come on, you son of a gun. Oh, what a mess. Like, I haven't even opened it yet, and it's already a mess. I'm trying to put 2 cameras back here. Let's put this one further back. There we go, look at that. That's an angle. Oh yeah. Probably you guys first look at an oil change on a tuk-tuk. Who even thought you'd be watching this type of content? Definitely not me. I didn't think I'd ever be changing the oil on a tuk-tuk before. There we go. That's better. Old oil filter. You get a bit of oil just on your finger. Apparently, still like, apparently, right? And I think from what I remember at the mechanics, you kind of just use the, look at that. You get the oil on your finger, and you just kind of just dab a little around the edge of the new filter. Create like an additional seal or something. Maybe I'm just making stuff up as well. I don't know exactly what I'm doing all the time. Just twist it on. I think that's the hardest part done. It's handy having 2 GoPros, but also stressful because you feel like you need to always be recording something productive with the 2 of them. And that's kind of exhausting at times. The next question was, what did I do before in this life? That's a great question. Look at my hands, right? I chose the dustiest location to do this. Anyway, I went from high school to university, studied as teaching for a year. Then I found myself getting into disability work, and the pay without qualification in Australia is amazing. So I kind of went that full time, took a gap year off teaching just to find out what I wanted to do. I really just saved up to eventually travel, and fell in love with like Latin culture as I decided. Just one day I was like, I'm gonna really just learn a language, and I picked Spanish. And then getting more into it, I found like the intricacies in the food and the culture and the people. And then I'm like, I really want to travel Latin America one day. I worked my ass off 80, 90 hour weeks in disability care with the idea I was just going to take 2 years off to travel Latin America in a motorbike. Long story short, my motorcycle gear is still in customs in Argentina. I couldn't get it out, but lucky for that, I was open with options, and the option I chose was to travel to Bolivia to get this tuk-tuk. Look at how yellow it is. You can see the color on that. Realizing how just dirty the other one was. Look what I've just found. That's epic. Well, that just made my day. There's a level on the side of the oil bottle, baby. Ew. 200 more mils and we'll put the rest in the other thing. Whole side of the body, like face included. I'm still going with this. We're nearly there, and then when we're done and we're packing up, I'm pretty exhausted. But buddy, show us the other side. Hey, buddy, ¿a dónde va? Ah, isn't she just amazing? Huge smiles. Patty, I want to see the side of your body. Come here, Patty. Come. Look, but just her body as well. It's just fully dust. Good girl, Patty. Good girl. You got my back, don't you? Yep. So we're just finishing off, pouring the last bottle in there. Job done. And we're still staying true to the weekly vids. Weekly means weekly, doesn't it, fatty? Yeah. What a day. What a day.